Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to welcome you to the Mayor's State of the Village address. Just a few protocols. I would ask everyone to please silence their phones. We certainly appreciate that. You know how that all happens. Number two, that we won't be taking any questions during this Mayor's State of the Village address. We will be taking questions during the meet and greet afterwards. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Mayor Joseph E. Rudez III.
Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our third annual State of the Village address. Thank you for coming. Before we begin, let us have two things we want to do. Let's have a moment of silence for the victims of Ukraine, and let's also have a moment of silence for the residents who lost loved ones due to COVID-19 here in the village of University Park. Thank you. Okay, thank you for coming. Before we begin, let me introduce our elected officials, starting from left to right. Trustee Theophilus Brooks, Trustee Janelle McFadden, our attorney, Jim Wargo, our village clerk, Trustee Donzel Franklin, Trustee Shirley Bowden, Trustee Karen Lewis, and that, never going to be last but not least, always special thanks to my wife for all the support that she gives me, because without her, I couldn't do this. She's the only one who doesn't turn on me and attack me. She's a great comfort at night, but she does, huh? So thank you. I'd also like to recognize our village manager, our fire chief, our police department, our public relations and media neighbor, our public works guy. Thank you so much for stepping out on a Saturday morning. And our collector, Ms. Claudia Webb, who stays in the back all the time, being nice and quiet. Thank you so much. All right. We have a lot of important topics to cover. The village board and I feel it's so important for residents to have transparency and direct access to your elected officials. Each year since I was elected mayor, we have had this annual address, and every 6 months between, we have had a town hall meeting to help keep everyone well informed. Today's address should take about 30 minutes, so I thank you all in advance for your patience. And before we move any further, I'm going to call up our reverend so we can bless this house with prayer. Reverend Mitchell, please come up and give us prayer.
Amen. Thank you all. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Let me hear that again. Good morning, everybody. Absolutely. It's wonderful to be here amongst our, and let me do this right, because I've been taught, so let me do this right. Thank you, Mayor, to the clerk, and the Board of Trustees for allowing me to stand before you today. Clerk taught me how to do that, so just got it. And then to the residents, thank you all for being here this morning and having the concern that we all have for the place where we live and the village that we love. And I say that wholeheartedly because I've been out here quite a few years and have sat on this board, but just is so grateful to be able to call University Park my home. And I chose the home twice. So, you know, I'm invested and I'm committed. But thank you all, and let us pray. Father God, we come before your throne of grace this morning, thanking you for this beautiful day. One so different than the one that we saw yesterday, but you saw fit to allow us to enter into this day of rest. Father, we thank you for this village board. Father, we ask that you continue to be with them today as they move through your agenda, not our agenda, as they move through your agenda, and may we rightfully divide. And if there's anything that be not of you in here today, Father, we ask that you just move it. And Father, we ask that you just touch with your spirit in a mighty way. Let it be manifest and let it go forth, that we'll be able to do due diligence and represent the residents of the village of University Park. Father, we thank you for your word. We thank you for your love. We thank you for keeping us in the center of your will, the little jewel that sits by the side of the road in between two expressways, that we may be able to enter in and thereof. Father, bless each resident that's here, those that had it in your heart to be here today. We ask that you would bless them as well. In your son Jesus' name we pray, and we give thanks for your many blessings that flow from heaven on high. Let every heart say amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. Always good to start off with prayer. Absolutely. And thank you. All right. After my remarks today, I'll invite the village manager to say a few words. After our presentations, your elected officials and village staff will stay for the meet and greet portion of today's event. We do this because we want to answer your questions and concerns personally and to give you enough time for a real discussion of your individual concerns. So if you're viewing this live at home, come out to the Town Center Complex between noon and 12:30 and join us. Thank you. The past 3 years have not been easy for any of us, and some issues could not have been predicted. The aqua water crisis hit many of our residents hard just weeks after my election in 2019. The global pandemic is in its third year, and its negative impact is felt in people's employment, in our schools, in our village revenues, and most importantly, in our families. These events took a toll on our families, but by the grace of God and his guidance, we have done our best, and we take time to reflect on our blessings. It's important to understand where we've been to understand how far we've come. The village 3 years ago was in pretty bad shape, from its finances and decaying streets to its poorly maintained parks and properties. The village board and I had a lot of difficult issues to tackle and still have some. The last administration closed Hickok Pool and Regal Farm. The town center complex, right where we are this morning, was like a ghost town with few tenants, potholes everywhere, and needing $1 million in repairs. Our Parks and Recreation Department was defunded, and programs for our kids, families, and seniors wiped out. And we're still feeling the effects of our Hickok Aquatic Center shut down. The past administration let the water sit and stand all winter, which cracked and destroyed our children's pool and a once valuable village asset. We inherited $1 million repair bill. And more than that, the village board and I inherited a $3 million deficit, $42 million in debt, and $14 million in taxpayer funds missing, with 77 open bank accounts. Can you imagine a small town like this with 77 open bank accounts? And the city of Chicago doesn't even have 77 open bank accounts or bank accounts, period. And very little, so back to our 77 open bank accounts, very little oversight of your money with state required audits ignored for 5 years. Remember 200 abandoned and boarded up homes that negatively impacted every single neighborhood. Remember potholes everywhere and no street resurfacing programs in effect, because why? The money was gone and unaccounted for. We took office dealing with some pretty big problems, including falling home values and residents just up and leaving for other communities. The village has recovered and still recovering since those darker days. Not entirely, but we're on the right path. And I credit the village board, the village manager, and our professional staff for much of our recovery. The trustees and I don't always agree. And sometimes we have heated debates. But in the long run, we respect our differences because we're working together to bring stability and a healthy dialogue, which is necessary for part of the democratic process. We're trying to build and maintain a clean, safe, and affordable community for our families. A village where our property values are stable and rising, where our kids and families have recreational activities, and where our quality of life is good. Everybody want that, right?
Absolutely.
All right. And the only way to do that is by doing what? Working together. That's my commitment to each and every one of my colleagues. Theo, Janelle, Donzel, Shirley, Karen, Madam Clerk. That's what we have to do. Teamwork and working together. And that's my commitment to each and every one of my colleagues. To keep working together, to keep working through our differences, and to keep moving our village forward. So that's where we've been as a village and where we are as a village board. We are particularly united in our approach to the aqua water crisis. So let me begin there. Let me give a quick update on the situation and then talk about the recent issue of aqua's belly. In mid-August of 2019, the Illinois Attorney General's Office and Will County State's Attorney Office filed a lawsuit against Aqua Illinois, alleging the company contaminated the water supply in University Park. Not alleging, but contaminated the system in University Park. The lawsuit sought immediate action from the company in addition to civil penalties. The case, unfortunately, is still ongoing, and our attorney, Ms. Fain, has been monitoring the case as it progresses through the courts. Village position is that Aqua's negligence stripped the protective layer in our pipes in 1,500 households. My belief is the court will ultimately find Aqua negligent. If they were not negligent, they would then have waived our bills for 31 months. I believe the damages are roughly and conservative 1,500 households times $12,000 in new plumbing to replace damaged pipes, totaling about $18 million for pipe replacements for our residents. We all want clean water restored, sewer and water bills waived for affected households. We deserve a reparations fund as well to compensate our residents for the nearly 3 years of suffering. I have been trying to get a permanent solution for the village, looking for monies from our state and federal partners to address our issues. On a recent trip to Washington, my team and I once again met with our U.S. Senator Dick Durbin, Congresswoman Robin Kelly, to bring them up to date on the ongoing issue. We made our demands clear and consistent. Our residents need relief now. In the coming weeks, we will have more to say on that issue, so stay tuned. Now to something a little more positive, which is our new business development. Proud to say $300 million in new business means lower property taxes for all homeowners. Residential property taxes are already too high in Will County. The village board and I decided to reject a tax and spend mentality in favor of bringing in new businesses to generate millions in commercial property taxes and sales tax revenues so homeowners get a break. For instance, Amazon, $150 million. Carvana, $48 million. Ryerson Century Steel, $38 million. Quick Trip and Shell Terrico project, $30 million plus. Travel hub development to include gas stations, truck stop, flagship hotel, and restaurants such as, is it Jimmy John's, Dunkin' Donuts, and Pizza Hut. And this is coming to University Parkway and Central Avenue, right off of our I-57 interchange. A new Dollar General, 541 University Parkway, will be breaking ground this summer. Project Crossroads, 284,000 square feet. In 3 years, we've increased commercial property and sales tax revenues by $4 million annually and created more than 2,000 new jobs. I think our board of trustees needs an applause for that. By 2024, the village anticipates its equalized assessed value, EAV, if you guys hear that term, to triple, which means an additional $4 million in annual revenues flowing to the village coffers. 2024, I anticipate a highly contested election just because of that. In real terms, this means $8 million in new annual village revenues and 2,000 new employees coming to our village each day supporting our metro and paying sales tax at our stores, restaurants, and gas stations. The vision is funding many village operations, improvements, and equipment purchases by bringing in new business instead of taxing homeowners. I think we all agree on that, right? We want to ease the burden of our taxpayers. All right. So let's talk about our village finances. Financial responsibility and the community stability, it really matters. Our village operating costs are roughly $7 million annually. Again, 77 bank accounts are down now to 12, including funding for police, fire, paramedics, code enforcement, public works, legal, economic development departments, all administrative staffing, and the maintenance of public assets like our village-owned Pine Lake, Regal Farm, the Town Center Complex, and our parks and other amenities here in University Park. 5 years of delinquent audits, guess what, people? They're current today, and we're working on 20 and 21 very soon. And probably the next couple of weeks, we'll be working on 2021. So we're actually making good progress when it comes to our finances. 5 years of audits and 3 years of being in office. Great job. Again, to my board of trustees, thank you so much for all your support and getting our books in order. So we took office with staggering debt. 42 million in long-term debt was negotiated down and paid down to 27 million. And guess what, people? It continues to fall. We've paid off 3.5 million, 1998 bond debt, paid off 4.5 million, 2002 bond debt, paid off 3 million, 2003 bond debt, and we closed till 4. What that means is stability matters. Grants for metros and Governor State and Industrial Park. We're fortunate enough to receive funding. We have received 34.9 million in grants to fund village improvements at no cost to taxpayers, including Metro, increased traffic and need for retail. Governor State, nearly 5,000 student body, a booming industrial park with 2,000 more employees, and our vision for restaurants, breakfast, lunch, and dinner stores for day-to-day needs, stirring a local economy, which we've been absent of for so long. Grocery store, restaurants, coffee shop. You guys can anticipate and actually have something to look forward to. Our town center complex, here where we are. In 2003, the village-owned property was 20% occupied and deteriorated. Today, 80%, 65 to 70% occupied and prospering, with more tenants waiting to come into the town center. Fortunate enough, we won the governor's 2020 Hometown Award for Excellence here in University Park. This is the first time in the existence of our community that the village has been awarded such a prestigious thing from the governor's office. So give ourselves we resurfaced parking lots. Our facelift is under, as soon as the weather breaks, our facelift on our town center will be rehabbed inside and out, and we continue moving our community forward. Street surfacing, sidewalk repairs, and improvements. University Parkway Road Resurfacing Project, walking paths completed in 2020. Governor's Highway Resurfacing completed in 2021. Farmview Road Resurfacing completed in 2021. Abbott Lane Resurfacing and Reconstruction in progress, 2022. Amherst Road Resurfacing and Reconstruction in progress, 2022. Steger Road Resurfacing and new traffic lights in progress. So if you guys come down Cicero and look to the right of Steger Road, you'll see a new traffic light being installed right now on Steger Road and Cicero. 50/50 sidewalk replacement program is still ongoing, 2020 to 2022. University Parkway Railroad Crossing improvements completed 2020. No more hazards going across those railroad tracks and bumpy potholes. People coming in to complain about getting their rams repaired. That's fixed. That's done. We've addressed that. My ongoing vision for ongoing resurfacing rather than deferred maintenances. Let's work on our dead trees and parkway cleanups. Inherited from the previous administration, over 125 dead trees and village parkways. About $225,000 out of removal costs. And we'll start working on that time frame. I anticipate this spring, this summer, we'll start getting some of those trees down. Is that what we're working at? Cityscape, inherited from the previous administration, the failed townhome development left vacant for 10 years. What an eyesore and hazard in our community. Started with 200 boarded up in 2019. Now over 150 homes are rehabbed and are back on the tax rolls. And now what the problem we have in University Park, we're running out of houses because our housing stock is just about full. So people are buying here at University Park and property values are increasing. So that's good news. Our 75 failed townhomes are targeted for demo 2022, spring or summer this year. We've directed our village attorney to condemn in Circuit Court of Will County, lien and redevelop park, new homes for students at the Cityscapes site. We'll come up with what we're gonna wind up doing with it. Our demolition costs about $100,000 estimated. So we're working on that Cityscape, and we realize it must go down. Not just alone is it an environmental hazard, it's a danger to our young people and anybody in this community, and it has to go down. I don't think I'll have any heated debates with any of my council members or anybody about that. We all agree with the residents. It's been there long enough. It's time for it to go down. So we're working on that. Our defunded and deteriorated parks, Regal Farm restoration, shut it by previous administration. Regal Farm has been closed. Now we've been fortunate enough to get money. It hasn't got here yet, but we got $650,000 for renovations at that Regal Farm, which is a historic place in our community, which we all value, and we want to see the best of it. A little bit of the old and a little bit of the new coming to our Regal Farm. Our timeline has not been established, but the work is already done on phase 1 engineering for environmentals and things going on regarding Regal Farm. Pine Lake, which was deteriorated by, again, our past administration, who decided to get the $500,000 grant and the money, send it back to Springfield, has now been recovered. Thank you to our trustee Shirley, who took the time to ride down to Springfield. With myself and Resources, our Director Judy Bard. So now, since our audits and our books are back in place, our value is restored, and Pine Lake will be a place that all of us should take advantage of. What a beautiful place to have in our community. Neglected, not anymore. On the list to do, top priority. Craig Park, we were fortunate enough again. We inherited from the previous administration. The park hadn't had repairs, and I don't know how long everybody has lived in the town, but I've been here since 1990, and the park on Sandra Drive, which we all know is Craig Park, has never been touched. We have upgraded or anything. We were fortunate enough to talk with our new business partners because we've got this thing with the board. We don't just have the people come in and do business. We want them as our business partners. So if they want to do business in University Park, they don't come and make their money. They have to also be a contributor to our community. So now we have over $300,000 at no expense to our taxpayers on a renovated Craig Park. It's not done yet, so we've got a new ball field, all the plumbing, all the lights. We got real lights at the ballpark. This young man was a student athlete. He was playing there. Now we got lights there. We haven't had a full set of lights in how long? So we don't have to continuously rent out porta potties down at the Craig Park, thanks to Venture One and Clayco on their generous contribution of over $350,000 to the village of University Park on rehabbing that facility. Our basketball courts will be renovated as soon as the weather breaks, and what we've known as the old tennis court will turn into a skate park for the community in University Park as we turn the page with the park down at Sandra Drive. So again, thank you to Mark Good, Venture One, and the Clayco Company for their contribution to our community. The Hickok Aquatic Center, $1 million to repair water damages. Wow, from the previous administration's failure to empty. Our engineer has completed our study. We've got the cost of what it takes to fix, and we're going to continuously work diligently on getting that. We're seeking $1 million in financing. That is just the #1 priority for our kids and our families. What a great amenity to have in our community. And not just alone will we get it up and going, we also anticipate on renovating it with green infrastructure and LED lights, because I'm a advocate guy of like the environment, protecting the green infrastructure and things of that, and solar. So we're looking to get that Craig Park, Hickok Pool up and going. It's not as fast as we would like to, but it's not neglected. And we're going to get that thing done for our community as well. So we talk about this park district referendum. I've asked everybody to support a referendum for a park district. Currently, to maintain grounds and equipment, kids and families and seniors have no programs. And just an example, University Park Library on Black Hawk is a separate district from the village. And the park district will be pretty much the same template as our library. Most Illinois municipalities have separate park districts, and University Park should too, like the library with its own budget, programs, and elected trustees and commissioners. Our vision for programs and our referendum is up to the voters. And we anticipate that referendum can go to the ballot November of 22, upcoming November for the general election. So if you see someone circulate the petition, you guys fill out the petition. Let's take it to the polls and see what the people want for a park district. Because right now you guys are paying for something and we're not providing that service. Everyone deserves to have some kind of form of recreational and physical health activities in the community, not just our young folks. There's something in the park district that encompasses something for everyone. So think about it, and we're going to continuously update you guys. We're bringing speakers to talk about the pros and the cons, park district versus park and recreation. And I know for one fact, when we had our park and recreation department, they did not have the unique ability like a park district would have. See, park districts can also get grants and procure other things which can kind of subsidize some of the costs. And it's just a little step of doing something different. But we cannot continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect to get something different. So we're a little bit, visionary board. And I'm not gonna say a little bit, we think beyond our terms, because these seats that we hold now, we're gonna try to do the very best that we can while we're in them. But we also plant the seeds for the future generation. And that's what our obligation is to do. So we think beyond our own terms ourselves. So in conclusion, got here kind of fast. We have many, many advantages when it comes to attracting new businesses and families to University Park. We're home to Governor State University and the Southland's premier metro station, becoming the Southland's transportation hub. And we're a hard-working, predominantly African-American middle-class community. And I'm proud to say that. And I'm honored to be considered as your mayor. And I'm humbly grateful for the residents who give me that opportunity. I will not let you down, and I will continue to be clear and transparent. So this is the key to keeping our property values stable and rising. The village board and I are working together to restore the Hickok Aquatic Center and Regal Farm and improve other village assets such as Pine Lakes and our parks, our top knots. All of this support is part of the underpinnings for residential stability and growth given the region's high population density and the village strategic proximity to Chicago. So we're moving in the right direction. And right now, as I close out, I'd like to call up our village manager, Ms. Ernestine Beck-Fulgham. Would you come up to the podium, please? And she'll close us on out. And I thank you guys for sitting so patiently and hearing out a few things as we talk about the facts moving forward in our community. There's nothing more that I really love is being called the mayor of this community, because it's a unique opportunity as our board members and us to sit in the community where we have input and we can plant the seed for the future of our community. I can tell you one thing, you'll never see me on the news talking to a news reporter saying anything derogatory about anything negative in our community. The time for us continually tearing each other down, having inflammatory, negative, dividing our community, you won't get it from me or the board of trustees. This is about the positive motivation force in our community. We will not sell out our community because what I'm afraid of, gentrification. And I'll make this real brief. I grew up in Chicago, called I.E. Wells. It was 642 East 39th Street. Back then it was called the Projects. But during that time, what happened in that area was that they made conditions deplorable. They figured that crime would go up, people would move away and walk away. But the ultimate goal was to capture that beautiful lakefront property and what a valuable asset it is to the city of Chicago. So what I see happening in University Park, the same mechanism. We've got every single thing that every community would want. We've got 2 golf courses, a lake, ingress and egress off of I-57, the largest industrial park in the state of Illinois with the largest companies in the nation, Clorox, Amazon's, Carvana's, Dot Foods, just to name a few. We're booming here in University Park. And the negativity, it has to stop. But one thing you can depend on, when you see Mayor Joe Rudez out in public, you can see that this man will represent the village at the highest level of integrity, that you can always depend on him telling the truth. And I want people to believe me, but when I tell you guys something, our clerk right here is our chief FOIA officer. Go FOIA, get in the black and white, get the real facts. For so long, we have been divided by lies, mistruth, pointing the finger. And I'm gonna say this, and I know it's the truth. My predecessor used to always tell me, man, you never beat me, because these people in University Park believe a lie before they believe a truth. Well, the lie is over now, and we are gonna move forward with actual facts.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
You know, we're all grateful that we were able to make it to the next day.
Mask, you can actually take your mask off if you like to. We're all vaccinated and boosted here. It's your preference.
Thank you,
Can't
Mayor.
hear you.
As I was saying.
Okay.
Can you, what I'm saying? Okay, I just have a habit, you know, you can never be too careful, but it's up to it. As I tell everybody, I've taken 20 COVID tests, 20 since March of 2020. I've taken 20. I've had my vaccination. I had my booster, but as we all know, there's an anticipated booster coming first with Pfizer. So be ready. And I hate shots. You'll never have to worry about me being a junkie because I hate shots. But I have to do it. And so, Mayor, just because you're
I'm over here now. I'm sitting down.
okay. Can you hear me a little bit better?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, first of all, what's important is, and I've reminded myself this all my career, and there's always, there's not an I in team, so I always, you will never basically hear me say I will say we, and as a result of that, I want to introduce my staff that's here today, that with the mayor and the board, we've been able to do some fabulous things in University Park. And I wanted to at least recognize them so they have a minute or two just to specifically address one or two things that happened since last year that are crucial. And by that, and I'm also including our engineers because they are focal in the development, the stats that are needed. We do not have any sanctioned engineers on staff. So, I mean, Antero Group, which is our engineering firm, has two representatives here today, but I think they've thrown up the coin and they know who is going to at least make the comments today. So I'm going to ask Curtis Whittick, who's from the Antero Group. Curtis, if you could do a couple, 2, 3 things that are crucial that's about to happen, and I'll not mention whatever if you mention them, so we can stop the duplication of efforts today. So you want to stand up, Curtis Whittick of the Antero Group.
Thank you, Ms. E. Thank you, Mayor and Board of Trustees. I'll keep this very, very brief. It's really an honor to be here this morning. I had to sell it to my pregnant wife and come down here, and it was an easy sell. That we could go to the Nathan Manilow Gardens. I think we should have brought our dog to go hiking. It's just a beautiful community, and it's really encouraging to see the unity and alignment up here. And I think all I want to say is there's an opportunity with this federal funding, new opportunities, new grants that are going to be available, and everyone who spoke up, Ms. E, Mayor, this community is so rich with assets, the parks, the university, the train station, the roads that are here. These are all assets, and your leaders up here are working very diligently to invest in those and to revitalize those assets and bring the community together. So it's an honor to be a part of this journey, and I really appreciate it. And I'll hand it back to Ms. E, or whoever is next. And I think if you want more specifics on a project, I will be here afterwards. Would be happy to speak. Thank you.
He's bending. All right. Next in line, many of us here wear several hats, and I'm sure you can ask one employee what their daily functions are, and they are multidisciplined, and they will tell you just that. We have one person that a day doesn't go by. We're all octopuses around here, so we have several arms and several hands. So I'm going to ask Ms. Kelly, Ms. Jacilia Kelly, who is our deputy clerk, our finance person, our catch-all as it relates to keeper of personnel records and several other things I could title under her, but I'd like her to stand up and just come on here just for a second. Come on up and just tell a little something. Come on down. Come on down. I know everybody, I hope you got on your walking shoes. You're going to come up here for a second, because unless your voice can roar over all of this, and but it's best if you come on up. Thank you, Ms. Kelly.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Thank you, good afternoon, Mayor Board, general public. Oh my goodness.
Good morning.
I wear a lot of hats, but what I will say is that we, as a village, are working together to strive to make sure that things are done with integrity in finance. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work that has to be done, but we're still trying to do what needs to be done, what's best for the village. The key thing for me and our department is getting our audits. Please bring up to date. We have completed 2019 audit. We will be completing 20 in the next few months. And then we're gonna roll right into 2021. So we're going to make sure that things are moving forward. And I am on board. It is not an I in team. So the people that you see behind the scenes, we all work together to make sure that this village operates. And I just want to thank the board, the mayor, for support, village manager for the support, all the staff that's here. We all support one another. You guys be blessed.
Moving right along, Chief Chelio, you want to come on up for a minute and just brief us on whatever. Brian Chelio is our fire chief.
Good morning, everyone. Couple things from the fire department. The fire department in the village here serves multiple functions. We're a fire department that also oversees code enforcement operations and the emergency management functions of the village as well. So a couple things. Last month, we were made aware of a situation with our tornado sirens. We had our vendor come out a few weeks ago. Those situations had been corrected, and we visually verified at the Tuesday morning test that all sirens were activated as they normally should. So to clear that up as well, there was some confusion. Everyone needs to understand that the sirens are only tested on the first Tuesday of every month at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's not every Tuesday, it's just the first Tuesday of the month. And if there is expected to be bad weather in the area, those tests may be postponed, so to not add some, confusion and stress to the situation. So in terms of code enforcement, right now our biggest project on the books is the Carvana site on Cicero Avenue. We have been out there on a regular basis doing permit checks and inspections. And we'll be out there again next week to do more on the, basically, we refer to it as the 300 section of the building is our next spot for sprinkler inspections. So we're going to look at doing some projects once the weather gets nicer out there. We want to do some more things for the public, things like an open house at the fire station. We're going to try to get CPR classes up and running now that we've got a better control over COVID and everything surrounding with that. So last remark is please make sure in the village, if you need the services of the fire department, to dial 911. We are receiving a lot of calls to office numbers and non-emergency numbers requesting, emergency assistance, and it just makes that time delay even longer. So please dial 911 to request services from the fire department. Thank you.
Thank you. We are without a Director of Public Works now, but it's being published, solicit applications, and they will be due by May 2nd. So there are going to be several sources of publication, but we ask that you look out for that. But in the meantime, Public Works have been moving forward with their daily activities. But one of the main problems that we're finding in Public Works is that of electrical issues, street lighting out, and or situations with pavement. So we're going to be looking more now for this year, fiscal 22-23 fiscal year, which begins May 1. We're going to be looking at various sources of dollars to do local road construction. And now, as it was mentioned by Curtis Whittick from the Material Group, there are dollars out there, local roads. We're looking at other dollars as it relates to state funding sources to begin to get at and deal with these. In particular, he mentioned Abbott and Elmhurst. There have been some dollars that have been put in escrow accounts, and we're holding those dollars to add to the bottom line estimated cost, because we are looking forward to those streets. Those streets are two of the worst streets in the village, and substantially they've not had work done. And I'm not talking about asphalting, I'm talking about reconstruction. Some of them are sinking, and we've been very grateful that persons haven't actually gone through those holes. I mean, there are sinkholes on those streets, so we're beginning to look at that. So you can definitely look forward to that. Now, also, the police department, I would like for our management liaison to come up and just inform you of a few crucial things that have just recently happened and some of the things you may want to brief you on. And that is none other than Sergeant Daniel Murphy. Would you come on up, please?
Good morning. Thank you, Referendum, Mayor, elected officials. One thing I just want to talk about is March 11th of this year, A young man named Michael McCarnes was shot dead at 745 Red Oak. Immediately upon his death, our department started the initial investigation with the assistance of the Will County, Grundy County Major Crimes Task Force, which I'm a member of. We were able to get some early leads. Within 19 hours of the shooting, traffic stop was made in Gwinnett County, Georgia. 2 suspects were taken into custody. As of Wednesday, last Wednesday, I went in front of the grand jury. I was able to get criminal indictments for murder, felony aggravated attempted robbery, and felony obstruction on 2 gentlemen, Sean Catton and Kennedy Smith. So the case is not still going on. Hopefully I have some more tips, more information for you as it goes forward from here.
Yes. Very good job. Very quickly, we're going to end this. I just want to mention, a facade, as we call it in the industry, the Mansard. The Mansard of Town Center has started its process. It's going to be completely redone from over by 2 Town Center Drive all the way to 100. So as we're dealing with right now, we already have the funds, and we're moving forward to complete that process. So that's another facelift, and ultimately we're going to get the parking lot restriped again, because there were a lot of issues when we did it. But now we're going to get it restriped to make it continue to look as a town center, the focal point of the community. Let me just mention this to you, is that the village has in fact completed a capital improvement plan and have completed a strategic plan. So we have a direction that we're taking this town in. The mayor has laid out, but we have a written of a document, and that's helping us in terms of seeking money. When they see this town has thought out a process, it's like shovel-ready programs. We already have what we want. We give it to you, you give us the money. We don't have to think about it, so we're going after that. Also, let me just say this final thing, and that is Beacon Hill and the mayor's office. Beacon Hill is a not-for-profit organization located here in University Park, and the mayor's office of special events is having what we call a career expo on the 22nd of this month, in a week or 2. Currently, right now, we have 150 jobs, various companies that are offering a total of 150 jobs, from student through the summer through major management, and the companies are still signing on. Guys, it's hard getting people in University Park to want a job. Whether you all want to talk about it or not, it's a fact. It's hard. We got all these jobs. And when people outside hear about it, they jump and come to University Park to try to get these jobs. But we gotta promote it. You want a job? That's what we all complained about at the beginning of the administration. We've delivered it. The jobs are here. Come take one. Come on and take it. But anyway, I'll end my report, Mayor Board. Thank you so very much.
And thank you so much, everybody, for coming out this morning. I'm quite sure there were some other things that you could have done. So prayerfully, there's enough time that you can still do those things. And I just got a text message. There's a new sports bar and grill that's opening up. So you all are invited right next door to take a preview of. There's some finger food, some snacks, and things of that nature when we leave this town hall. So again, as your mayor, I'm humbled and honored to be the mayor of the great village of University Park. I see a great village coming ahead. I see the diversity in the community coming. I see us engaging hand in hand with Government State University. So continue to keep us in your prayers. Continue to keep us focused, because you guys are the prize. We just want to deliver for you guys. So thank you. If anybody has any questions, the trustees, the clerk, and the attorney are up here. So thank you again for coming out this morning. You guys have a fantastic day. And before I close out, our esteemed village clerk would like to say something. How can you definitely deny her? Come on, Madam Clerk.
I want to say thank you, God, that we are still here. Again, I would like to say thanks to all of you, the few of you who came out because this truly shows that you care. I would like to say, we've got something on the media which I'm not good with. It's called Nextdoor and Facebook, that for some reason, we have a handful of residents in this community who uses it to blast this administration, this community, and our elected officials. I have a couple of questions. Where were you when the aqua crisis hit? How many cases of water did you help secure to help get us through this crisis? Also, the pandemic hit not only University Park, but worldwide. And again, where were you when most of us in this room was out securing food boxes, getting volunteers to come out in the rain, putting these boxes in your cars? How dare you not say thank you and ask, what can I do? How can I help this community move forward? Along with Ms. Stroud in the back, Ty and his wife, I have been here at University Park since 1972, when it was Park 4 South. I have seen the highs, the lows, the changes in demographics, the changes in administration. I was here when they started the TIF district, when they started bringing in. Now, we're getting some funding, we're getting some company for this community. So please know, we hear you, we welcome your complaints, but we also ask for your suggestions. If we're not getting it right, bring your suggestions. What should we do differently? Let's work together, not tear down the community, because whether it's outside or inside, a house divided shall not stand. We here serve, and I take seriously my oath to serve all 7,145 residents of this community. That's your 2020 census in this community. So let's come together. Let's lift each other up and ask, what can I do? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And you know what, even though this is the mayor's state of address, I'm going to see if any one of our council members want to say anything. Because these members that you see still sitting here are the backbone behind me, because those are the ones who make the business decisions to move this community forward. So I'm definitely going to always offer the opportunity. Anybody?
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to stand before you. Don't take this lightly, considering that the majority of my time in office has been confined to COVID. And I also don't take it lightly because this always presents a unique opportunity to let the public know some things that I'm working on behind the scenes for the community. So one thing I want to say is that I'm in the process of putting together a screening event for children in the village of University Park, ages 0 to 9, who have potentially been affected by the lead that's been in the water. This is for any parents that may have had to make their bottles with water, or the kids were drinking Kool-Aid with water, or anything to that effect. We want to start really taking a deep look at if this is having a developmental effect on our children in the village of University Park, because I'm hearing more and more cases about our children in kindergarten that are being removed from class on a daily basis and sent to the dean's office. And our first graders that are being classified as special ed because of behaviors that the school is noticing. And I'm also working with the school to make sure that they're putting things in place to not just classify kids as special ed, but make sure the supports and interventions are in place to really take a deep look at what's going on with the children. So I'm working on a screening event in partnership with Chicago Research Triangle, where we're gonna have some opportunities for parents to take advantage of that. And if things are found, it helps to build your case to sue Optum for what they've done to our children. I also want to acknowledge that I've been working with the police department. I want to give a shout out to Sergeant Murphy, because he has recently joined my Young Children's Wellness Council. And this is a council of stakeholders within the Southland, which gives children in the Southland some stakeholders that's fighting on their behalf behind the scenes. And we come together and we have quarterly meetings where we talk about ways that we can help address the mental health crisis. We talk about ways that we can help address the gun violence and the different things that are going on in the Southland. So I want to say thank you to Sergeant Murphy for willing to step up and be a part of this Young Children's Wellness Council that will not only have effect on children in University Park, but in the Southland as a whole. I had a meeting with the superintendent and a few other stakeholders on Wednesday about a mentoring program that we're going to be starting in partnership with the school district. And this is extremely important because I keep sounding the alarm that there's a lot of guns in the hands of these young kids in the village of University Park. And that brings me back to what I stated in the very first time that I ever spoke as a trustee. And my statement was, Black men, we need you to step up. So I've been in this seat 3 years, and the Black men in the community are still what I call, no show. And we're still in a position where we need more Black men to get involved. I seen a list of kids that are having the majority of the issues that relates to gangs and drugs and guns at the high school. I knew 80% of the kids, and not a single kid on the list had a father involved in their life. But it's a beautiful thing that we have enough Black men in the community where we can serve as a father figure to these kids to help them out. So I'm under the impression and optimistic that the kids that have the guns in the community are still reachable. So there's things that we can do to make sure we reach them. And lastly, I'll say I'm in the process of planning a community march so we can show the community that we care about our community and we don't want the guns in our community. So once again, Black men, be on the lookout for that, because we're gonna need y'all to show up and show out. Those are things that I want to let you all know that we have in place. And then also, in partnership with the police department and the Young Children's Wellness Council, we're working on an app that will allow the police officers, if they're responding to a crisis situation that involves mental health of children, they'll have a QR code that the families can scan, and it'll immediately bring up a list of resources for this family to receive mental health supports and services for their children. And then also, we've been talking about ways that we can embed mental health professionals inside the police department so that they can provide supports and services. And we've also already begun to put together some trainings for the police officers around mental health crisis situations. These things are all at no cost to the residents of University Park. Thanks for your time.
That's what I mean. We've got a board that's hard at work all the time, under the covers, late at night after they do their other job. We're working diligently to improve the quality of life of this community. Trustee, anybody else? And you know what, while I'm waiting on one of the other trustees, just to let you know that we're looking at cameras throughout the community at our high crime areas. We're looking at them at our interchange, around our parks and our schools. We're looking at putting new charging stations in. We're way ahead of the time. So we just passed a resolution about charging stations at the metro station, maybe some divvy bicycles throughout the community. So we're working quietly but silently, but we're working strong and aggressive toward getting things done for our community. But one thing that's for sure, you can't do this from a part-time position. The times have really passed us by. Residents live here 24/7, 365. And to cheat you guys out of what you deserve from legislators is kind of hard to do. So maybe we can think about that as we come down the line, because if it wasn't for the grace of God and support of my wife, I couldn't do the things that I do, going to a 9 to 5 on a daily basis and then coming here to do that. You guys deserve a lot, and we'll give you as much as we possibly can. Trustee Lewis?
Good morning, everyone. I just want to say thank you all for coming out today. Thank you, Mayor, Trustee, Clerk, everyone to come out. So I am the trustee liaison with the Mayor's Office of Special Events. So we have an Easter egg hunt, April 16th, for the kiddies in the field in between 44 Town Center and 698 Burner. So bring out the little people. Let's celebrate. God put us here so we can celebrate and be a part of this community. So bring out all the little people that you can. Tell your friends, your neighbors, knock on the door. You see the kids running in the street. You see them running, playing, bring those kids over. We are part of this community. Let's all come together and have some good times. Thank you. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. So on our website, Ms. Neva has posted a link. As you all are aware, we are having that aqua water crisis. I need everyone to get on there and fill out the complaint, because they said that they're not hearing anything from University Park and that our water is fine. We know that is not the case. Knock on a door, call a friend, tell them all, fill out the link. The more we complain, the more our voice can be heard when the mayor and I and the village manager and the attorneys are in these meetings making noise. So make noise on that link, put your bills out there, fill out the complaint. Thank you.
Well, thank you, trustee. And I'm going to say now, I believe that concludes our annual State of the Village address. Thank you again for coming out. Again, if you guys want to do a finger food, want to check out our new sports bar and grill here at the town center, you're welcome. The doors, I see the doors are open right now. Again, thank you so much for coming out. Your time is valuable, and we'll continue to work for the best interests of our community. Thank you so much.